Pateropoulos from DIT Web Solutions. Today I wanted to talk to you about real websites that produce real leads. Lately I've been seeing all kinds of different websites. $500 websites, $1,000 websites, websites with broken links, bad copy, good copy. So I wanted to go over what constitutes a real website that actually produces real leads. Step one, before you even put a website together, to do it correctly, you need to do market research. Before you write a book, you research about your topics, you interview people, you gather all kinds of data, and then you write your book. Well, the website is the same thing. You gather all the data, and in this case, you want to find out, let's say you're a roofing company or a contractor, for example, you want to find out what is the hot button regarding your services in your geo-target areas. So for example, we did a survey for a roofing company in Toronto, Canada, and you would think, and the owner did think this already, so he was like, what do I need to do market research? They want a good roof. They want something that won't leak. You know, he was already coming up with the answer to the survey, which wasn't done. So I said, let's do the survey because we're getting it from the horse's mouth. What are they thinking? And so we surveyed, and guess what they said? Nothing to do with the roof, nothing to do with shingles, nothing to do with watertight. 54% said they want the area around the roof, you know, the debris, where the debris falls and nails will fall. They want their whole grass and their garden as clean as the way the roofer found it when they arrived. Or better, but at least as clean as the way they found it. So, wow. The owner said wow, I said wow, we all said wow. But now we've got the hot button. You see, that changes your website, your promo piece is right there. Everything's different right now if you've nailed this. And the other important point is, as I said, in your geo-target areas. If I would have surveyed San Diego about roofing versus Calgary versus Toronto, you're going to get different responses in different areas. This person wanted to sell a lot of roofs in a particular area, so I said, good, that's where we're going to survey. We need to know what they're thinking. So that's a major mistake that's done in market research, by the way. People will survey generally all over the map. That's not the way to do it. You need to hone in, who are my buyers, where do I want to sell, and survey those people, because they're the ones you want to sell to. So you nail that hot button, which is a game changer, and most people don't do this. So that's step one. Step two, once you've nailed that, is to position yourself and your services. So positioning is how to relate one thing to something else, how to relate the familiar with the unfamiliar. We had a survey done, one of my networking partners did the survey some years ago in the wardens. He surveyed wardens in the US to find out about their phone system, some data for a phone company. And what the survey found was they wanted an indestructible phone because the inmates were smashing these phones and destroying them. So the warden said, we need something that's indestructible. So that was the hot button. The majority answer to a question is the hot button. Positioning now is to find out what physical universe object comes to mind when we say, in this case, indestructible. And what came up was a Sherman tank. So we position the phone, they position the phone as strong as a Sherman tank. And then you develop clever graphics and show that your phone can take whatever bombs and will survive. So that's done after the hot button is acquired. You position yourself. One other example I can give you is many years ago, and this has been documented, you can find this in a search online, was Avis, I believe, came up with, we're number 2, we try harder, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was Avis. I think they were going after at the time budgets, top position. They're trying to be the top, the best. How can we beat the best? Well, the best was already taken. That space was occupied. So somebody came up with something clever and said, We're number 2, we try harder. So that's a position in somebody's mind. Hey, they're not the top dog, but they're trying harder for you. They're number 2. That's a positioning. So it's very powerful. Not everybody understands positioning, but I'm going to put it in there because if you can put in a button, the right buttons, and then position yourself in the marketplace via your website and your brochures and your branding, then you're way ahead of the curve. The next thing you need to do is called a competitor analysis. Now, why bother to do that? Again, another roofing company we did this for, they said, oh, our competitors are this guy, and this guy. When we did the online competitor analysis, that wasn't the case. The guys that were the online competitors were totally different, and we got to see what buttons they were pushing, we got to see what phrases they were working on, we got to see what social media signals they were pushing. What this did was flush out what they were doing, and it also told us how much marketing actions we needed to do to beat them online. How much search engine optimization, how much Google Ads do we need to do? It took all the guesswork out. So if you wanted, if it was a pet store and you wanted to be the top pet store in Boston, well, then I need to do a competitor analysis of the pet stores in Boston and see what are they doing, how much are they spending, who's got the market share online, and reverse engineer it and come up with your strategy. So a competitor analysis is very crucial. There's an expression in marketing that we say no before you promote. So that's these 3 things here, get in the button, positioning yourself, competitor analysis are all in the market research area of knowing before you promote. So those are the things that usually get excluded, and then what happens is you have conversion problems, and then you're hiring conversion companies, and then you're trying to figure out what can I do to make my website pull more leads, and etc. Well, if you did all this in the beginning, you can do it after, of course, too, but if you implement this, then you won't have as many conversion problems. Next is step 3, which I call real content based on the market research that was acquired. The more content, the better. So that's another area that could have a whole seminar on content, and we probably will do a video on content. Writing proper content. So now, like, in the Sherman tank example, now they're going to write content how their phones are as indestructible as the Sherman tank. You've got all the keywords that the competitors are going after. You can include that now based on what came out of there to help you write the content. And you're also writing for search engines. A lot of the content I see on websites are the owners writing about, we have been around since 1989. We do this. We have this in-house. We call these we sites. You want to flip that and write from your prospect's perspective. What's in it? They want to know what's in it for me. So you want to write the content for them. It's not totally about you. Yes, there can be a bio page that explains the about us. But when you're writing content, it should be based on research, and you should be writing it for the people that you're trying to present to. So that's a whole other, we can go into that a lot, but I wanted to touch on that real content. And then there's copywriters that we use in our example, with our company, that are trained to write copy. I also made a note, the more content, the better. When searchers are looking for a website or services, they're typing in words. So the words is what gets picked up. So the more words, the more good content relative to your site, the better. 4 or 5 page websites don't cut it. You need to have, 20 plus pages, because they're words and people are typing in words to find your site. So when I hear people saying, I got $1,000 website and it was 5 pages and I'm all happy with how much I saved, I say, well, that's not going to do anything for you. It's better than nothing, but it's not going to really produce you a lot of leads. Next is a professional design based on the market research. So again, using that example of the Sherman tank, a designer that can actually, draw up or get a good picture of a Sherman tank, relates it to the phones that, you can bomb these phones and just smash these phones and they're going to last. And you have, real designers that can do real design based on what came up in the market research. It all works together here. Then it's time to market. All right, so then I wrote down here aggressive long-term SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. Remember I was saying you type in these keywords or these words to pick up something on a site. That's called SEO. And that requires, that's another whole seminar, but I wrote aggressive long-term SEO because this is a long-term action. It's not a short-term action. Google doesn't let you just jam a site and find it with the flick of a switch. They make you sweat for it. And the more phrases you get on page one, the better. Most of our clients now have 25, 50, some have over 100 phrases on page one because we were able to get across to them that it's a long-term action. It keeps building, it snowballs. So you don't, if you try to test SEO for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you're missing the point about SEO. It's not one of those turn on, turn off. Only engage in search engine optimization for long-term results so that in 5 years you have all kinds of phrases and you're dominating your market. The more phrases, the better, because people type in, hi, my shingles, are coming off, what do I do? And somebody had an article about shingles coming off and it routed them to that person's website because they typed in this weird communication, they typed it wasn't weird to them, they typed their question down. And so that's the next step to having a real website that produces real leads is to get into SEO long term with somebody that you trust, that knows what they're doing, and then builds you a very substantial online presence. Next, I wrote stable Google Ads. Just doing the search engine optimization is usually not enough. You want to also have Google Ads. Google Ads have been making people millions of dollars for a long time. They work if conducted correctly, like anything else. And I wrote the word stable, meaning, again, you don't want to have a turn on, turn off thing. You want to keep it going as long as possible. You want to keep, even if it's $1,000 a month to Google Ads, pick a budget you can handle and keep it stably there. And we call this the 1-2 punch. They'll see the SEO, the phrases coming up on the top 10 spots, and they'll see your ads. So, by the way, 75% of the people go to the top 10 results. 25% of the people go to the Google Ads. So if you want 100% coverage for your website, you do both. And then you can add in Facebook ads based on the buttons and positioning that came up, which will make your Facebook ads now produce more leads because it's based on the research and based on the graphics that you just developed from up here. So as you can see, this beginning part here is very important. This is the key, actually, to lead producing websites. Getting this all done, and then somebody that knows how to use this and incorporate it properly where it communicates to the general public is how you produce a real website that produces real leads. Thanks for listening.